You're welcome once again to Prop Talk Fridays with yours truly. Today we'll be basically talking about the Lands Act and some of the reforms the Act has made. Okay, so today I have on the panel with me Akuniti Fafa, Makafui, before Yentroa, and we are basically talking about the Lands Act since it has come to stay. Okay, so if I would like to know your general view of the Lands Act.
I think that the Lands Act has come to tackle issues that are faced with land acquisition, and also it has clearly brought a distinction. It has clearly laid out the different interests we have in land and the distinction between those different interests for people who read it and do not have an understanding of the different interests we have in land. It has also helped with proper records, record keeping of what's the name, interest in stool lands, so that you see that chiefs don't end up selling one land to a lot of many people. So it has brought sanity in that area as well. So yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. Oh, that's fine. So, Makafui, this question goes to you. Do you think the Lands Act has fully addressed the concerns of various stakeholders?
To a large extent, I would say yes, because if you look at the Lands Act, it has literally tackled every issue, right from land titling to the various types of land ownership and everything. I think that to a large extent, the new Lands Act seeks to address many of the issues that were a challenge to Ghana's land administration. But then I'll quickly want to add to that to say that it's not enough for we to have an act that addresses everything, but then it is also equally very important to put structures in place to ensure that they are efficiently implemented.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I think with the Lands Act, one major challenge, even prior to the Lands Act, one major challenge with the old laws governing land acquisition was that they were old and very pertinent to, this Land Act actually solves issues we have regarding land acquisitions today in Ghana. So one main reform board is the issue of land guards. So Nutifafa, I would like to know your concern about the issue of land guards and how the Lands Act actually addressed it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the issue of land guards, yeah, we are all aware they're a very big issue in Ghana, where you have private persons, the land that's been bought. So an owner of a piece of land actually goes to hire some people living in the community to guard the land. And this is because of various inefficiencies that can be found in our land system, including the lack of security personnel, the multiple sales of land. So then people are concerned that even if they buy the land and they may seem to have title to the land, the inefficiencies that were addressed, that were present in previous land regimes, brings about difficulty. I said earlier, if a system facilitates the selling of land multiple times, you would have people actually having land guards. And land guards have been described as organized criminals by people. So then they are private persons, but then they're not under security, and neither are they under the public, that's the Ghana Police Service security. So then the issue of land grabs, like I said, arises out of inefficiencies. So now with this land system, it promises, I'm choosing my words carefully, it promises to make easier by enhancing the way, one, the identification of land interest, how land is registered, like titles and interests are registered and all that. So then with this promise, if it's able to achieve it, if it's able to achieve this promise, then there wouldn't be a need for land guards protecting pieces of land because they can be very violent, they can engage in criminal activities and all that, and it's very discouraging. So then if this new lands act is able to meet its promise, like achieve its goal in addressing inefficiencies that were encountered in previous land administration systems, then there wouldn't be any need for land guards in the future. But then it's all conditional. That's if this Lands Act actually fulfills its promise and addresses inefficiencies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This one goes to Ifua. Ifua, per the Lands Act, it says a person found culpable of denying another person who has interest in the land entry into the land actually commits an offense and is liable to a summary conviction of a term of imprisonment not less than 5 years and not more than 15 years. Do you really think this offense, actually stipulated by the Lands Act is enough to deter them from actually, from committing those offenses and in effect actually ensuring sanity in land acquisitions?
So as McAfee said earlier, the law has been enacted and everything, but it's up to government to implement it. So the question is, are measures being put in place to do that? Is there an institution that charges people for such offenses? Is there an institution that charges people for those offenses? Is there an institution like that regulates that area, makes sure that people are punished for those things? So it's not about just the law, it's about which institution is supposed to regulate that area. Is it the Ghana Police Service that is going to take care of that aspect, or is another institution that's going to be created by Lands Commission to do that? I mean, it's a criminal offense, so that means it should come under what's the name? The Ghana Police Authority. But then it's about implementing it. Who is going to make sure that these people are punished? Because these land guards are still doing what they do. So now, so then we don't know whether they are being punished for those things.
Okay, all right, that's fine. McAfee, if I talked about the implementation bit of it, which actually she's thought that it boils down on the government. Do you really, side with her and also allude to the fact that only the government, is to ensure its implementation?
I agree with her partly because, obviously the government has a role to play in ensuring that it is implemented. But then I would also want to add that we, the citizens, also need to, contribute to the effectiveness or the efficiency of this act. Why am I saying this? We all have a role to play when it comes to issues regarding land administration, and all stakeholders must be on board. The land agencies, the workers in these land agencies, landowners, to a large extent, many of some of these land guards behavior, sometimes we, the landowners, also to an extent promote their operations, because some people actually contract them to take care of their lands for them. So if we all come together, all the relevant stakeholders come together and then say that, look, we all have a part to play in ensuring that this new land act is effective, then that is where we are moving towards a more efficient land administration regime. Yeah.
Just
Right,
to
that's
add
fine.
to,
That's fine.
sorry, just to add to
Okay.
what McCaffrey said, as she said, the citizens have to help. And I mean, recently a colleague was telling me about the fact that they had to go and see a land that they owned, and then there were land guys that they had to pay them to allow them to enter. Do you see? So you are supposed to report the issue, but you
Yeah, I
are
get
paying
it.
them to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? You are paying them to, I mean, they didn't hire them to, what's their name? To guard that area. They don't know them, but they just came there and then they paid them. You see, you're supposed to report the issue, but you are paying them. That means you're encouraging them to do what they are doing. You see.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Okay, okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so on the issue of transfer of interest, on the issue of transfer of interest, it appears majority of Ghanaians actually think that once you acquire land, you acquire land into forever. The land belongs to yourself and your descendants forever, and without actually paying note to the fact that you are actually being granted a lease, and that lease is a terminable interest. It's supposed to end at a particular time. Okay. That being said, I chanced on a post from a Black diasporan who happened to have married a Ghanaian, and she made I think a false statement that once you acquire land in Ghana, you acquire it forever. Okay, so this in relation to the creation of freehold interest. Now, prior to the passing of this act, various laws back then actually allowed the creation of freehold interest in various private lands. But now the current Lands Act has actually barred that. No, Fafa, I'd want to know the significance of of this. This law actually barring the creation of freehold interest. Do you really think it's in a good light?
Well, you can look at it from, well, first, it's good you actually raise the issue that once you acquire an interest in land, it's not forever. It's important that people are aware of that fact. And as Suspedia as a team, been trying to, I think in our previous articles on that, where the fact that if you enter into an agreement to acquire a piece of land or any form of estate contract, you should be aware that you can never earn anything forever. Now, to the question itself, you can look at it from 2 points of view. Now, if I'm the and I acquire a piece of land freehold, like it's a perpetuity, of course I'll be excited for me, because then it beats that issue of having to always re-sign, like enter into an agreement to renew. So a renewal of contracts, having to pay all these. Once I earn it, I'm okay, I'm good. So then from that point of view, yes, for me, if I'm going to be selfish, if you give me the opportunity, hey, thank you. But then you are looking at distribution of equity, justice, urban, like all that. So then if you are concentrating wealth, in this case land, into the hands of just a particular group of people, it takes away that opportunity from others to actually also have access to that land. So then if you give one person, like just a person, that land, that piece of land, and the person is able to do whatever he can for forever, then it blocks my chance of, like, in the future of getting access to that same piece of land. So then you realize that there's going to be concentration of wealth in a few, because you have others being barred from getting access. So then looking at 2 points of view, one, if I was the one who was earning forever, it's I would enjoy that because it beats, like, it prevents me from having to enter into legal issues of renewal and all that. But then if you want to look at a broader perspective, I think it's good to truncate that law where people don't earn things forever, to at least to facilitate equitable distribution of wealth and prevent the concentration of wealth a few people.
All right, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So do you really think this in effect actually alludes to the fact that the guiding principle of land acquisition, in the sense that land belongs to the past, the present, and the future yet unborn?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I have one question. Makafui, this goes to you.
I'm here.
This goes to you. This goes to you. Okay. The law bars the creation of interest, right?
What type of interest?
Yeah.
The creation of freehold interest. Sorry. So the law bars the creation of freehold interest. Now, how about, or what about when say a private individual, prior to that, a person of this law previously has acquired a freehold interest in a private land, and that individual now intends to assign or transfer the interest to another person? Is that in effect a creation of a freehold interest? Does that particular transaction, comes, or is that particular transaction absorbed by this act as a creation of a freehold interest?
I would say that even before this new land acts came, okay, the Constitution specifically barred the creation of freehold interest for foreigners, and they are limited to having an interest up to 50 years. Okay, so the whole rationale behind this, as Missy said, is just to protect the our lands for future generations, because if the land is not being held well for future generations, then we cannot say that our land administration system is effective enough. So what this limitation on freehold interest is doing is that it's just going to ensure that the land is
No,
effectively managed.
I'm coming. It seems you didn't actually get my question. I want to know. You see, before the coming into effect this act, prior to the coming effect of this act, you could actually, transfer freehold interest, right?
Okay.
So
that's exactly
I want to know.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'm coming. So I want to know if a private individual, right, a Ghanaian has actually acquired a freehold interest before in a particular parcel of land, and he intends to actually assign that interest to another person now. Does that transaction actually get absorbed by this act, which states that one cannot?
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that the whole rationale is not for anybody, but is actually to protect the management of the land for the future generation. So what is going to happen is that whatever form it takes, you cannot transfer a freehold interest, which has been explicitly stated in the law. So it has barred the transfer of a freehold interest. That means that if you've already had a freehold interest before the effect coming into effect of the land, fair enough. The coming into effect of the act, fair enough. But then what the act is saying is that with effect from the passing of the law, you cannot transfer freehold interest, which means that the law is placing a limitation on the transfer of freehold interest.
Okay, that's fine. Before you can come in. Now, I think the two terms are the creation and also the transfer of freehold interest. Do you really think the creation automatically the transfer, automatically becomes a creation of a freehold interest, or both terms are distinct, and therefore the transfer of a freehold interest could suffice under this law. If you can come in.
Creation and transfer. I'm thinking that the creation should be from the onset. That's when you got the freehold. But then when you are transferring it, because of this act, and this act actually takes effect, so then it should now become a leasehold then, because the act takes effect.
So, all right. So what this law seeks to do is to bar the creation of freehold interest and not the transfer of freehold interest. So
Yes.
there's a bit of, argument over there. So there's a bit of argument over there that could a transaction actually suffice under this act, or once or it looks only at the creation bit of it, the originator bit of it, other than the transfer of it. So I think that aspect should also be made clear. Okay, so you can come in, Nito Fafa. You can come in.
Yeah, so I don't have anything to add to that, but my point is, so you are speaking about technicalities now, where the term creation and transfer can bring some sort of friction. So personally, I'm here to read the entire act, so I don't know what to say. But then I guess it's not addressed in the act, like in terms of technicalities, because we all know law is very technical, and you can be beaten even if you have a good case on the basis of technicalities. So then, if not addressed in the new Lands Act, I guess future law cases, cases that come up. So if not addressed, I'm sure there'll be friction. People will have arguments with each other and take people to court. Then that might help bring some clarity. So because it's not everything that can be addressed. It's things is always improving when cases come up and all that. So all I'm just saying is it's going to be an interesting case when you have the issue of technicalities popping up in terms of the creation and also the transfer of freehold interest.
Okay, that's
okay.
Fine.
So what Niti said, when the Constitution barred the creation of 50 years interest for foreigners, okay, what they said is that, and even created a 19, I think that is something that has already been in the Constitution of Ghana. So this is not something that is new in the new Lands Act. Something that has been there even before the Lands Act. But what the Land Act is doing is that it is consolidating all this old acts and then making things better. Okay, so in the Constitution, okay, there was already a limitation on the creation of freehold interest for foreigners, which was like 50 years, and then natives of indigenous Ghana, 99 years. Okay, so what the Constitution said is that for citizens of Ghana, before those who had freehold before the creation of this law, your freehold still holds for you. But for foreigners, with the effect of the Constitution of Ghana, any foreigner who has a freehold interest, right from the passing of the Constitution, now it's a 50-year interest. Yeah. It's no more free. So I just want to believe that if the Land Act is making any provision like that, it's just to reiterate what the Constitution has already said, and the effect should be similar to the effect of the Constitution. So, if they are buying the creation of freehold, anybody who has had freehold before the new Land Act should still have it, because that's for the indigenes of the country. But maybe for foreigners with effects from the passing of the law, then I don't even want to believe that any foreigner has 50 years when the Constitution has already made that provision. Even before the Land Act, that thing was there already. So it's not something that is new in this new Land Act. It's not a new thing.
Yeah. Okay. Can I jump in quickly?
Yeah.
To summarize, can't create freehold. And from what's been happening from the Constitution, and also from what Makafu is saying, you can't create new hold and freehold interest, and you can't transfer to. That's what I think now. Like that's my interpretation. You can't transfer, you can't create, and you can't transfer. So then the issue of technicalities I was raising earlier, I'm bringing back into question where I think it would be impossible for anyone to either, well, creation, I think, or when you go to allodial title interest and all that, fine, by customary law and all that, you can. But then the principle is that henceforth, you can neither create nor you cannot transfer freehold to anyone. I think it will just be truncated by law, like it's going to be automatic.
Okay, all right, okay, that's fine.